All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Crunch Time. I'm going to start it off real quick. Giants, big loss yesterday against the Eagles. I had a feeling, I think I took the Eagles last week. I got to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that I did. Eli Manning being Eli Manning and just having an awful day yesterday. Greg, how'd you feel about the game? What'd you think?
How do you think I felt about the game? It was, I mean, aside from that first drive, what happened? I mean, they came out firing on all cylinders. Eli starts off 10 for 10, big touchdown to Odell. You think they're going to run away with the game? And then all of a sudden, the second quarter happened. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that defense, you know what? That defense, the Eagles just went too fast for them. That's what a Chip Kelly offense is going to do. They're gonna tire you out. They're gonna throw the ball around, and then DeMarco Murray finally learning how to work in that system. And I called it last week, and I said they're gonna figure out a way to use him, and they did. 109 yards and a touchdown, and he was big for them. And Sam Bradford's still Sam Bradford. He's still he threw for 280, but threw 3 interceptions, and they still won. So you can just say that the Giants' offense just looked flat in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was the one thing that the Giants defense had going for them was their run defense. They give up 100 yards to DeMarco Murray. I said last week that they had the worst pass defense, but then they get 3 picks. The problem was they didn't get any points off of turnovers. Every time they gave the ball back to Eli, it seemed like he was throwing an interception. I mean, he had 2. There was a fumble. The pick 6 didn't help. But you know what? The one play that killed them was that Demontre Moore roughing the passer. They're up 7-0. Yep. They're getting Philadelphia on a 3-and-out. And what does he do? He picks up Sam Bradford and drives him into the ground like an idiot. Like he's an idiot. Like I don't understand. I mean, I haven't played competitive football since high school, but I am smarter than half the players in the NFL. I mean, I understand that it's an aggressive sport, sure, but why are you so dumb? Like, that's the one thing. It's like the whole job is to get out, 3 plays, get off the field, give the ball back to your offense, and he does something as stupid as that.
Yeah, you know what? These guys just get aggressive, and they forget where they are, and they don't know that they just want to put a hurt on somebody, and they don't think about what the ramifications are going to be. And going back to what I said about Eli last week, we're praising him. Guys throw 441 yards and just out of his mind, throwing touchdowns all over the place, throwing yards, putting up, big numbers. And then this week, 189, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. There was one pass that, for a veteran like that to win 2 Super Bowls and throw a pass like that, I think it was the interception on the slant route or the out route. I didn't know what he was doing on that pick 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, every once in a while you're going to say, okay, you didn't see the defender. Okay, you made a good play. But that was typical Eli, almost like trying to do too much. And that opened up the door because I think it was 14-7. They have the ball, and then all of a sudden you get a pick 6, and, you're looking at 21-7.
Yeah.
I have to say, the first interception, it can't be his fault. It definitely was Larry Donnell. The ball was in his hand. He just gets ripped it out by DeMarco Ryans. Which
you can't count that for him.
But that can't happen. I don't know. It's funny because I'm looking at that and I'm just like, the Giants tight ends, we haven't had a good tight end in umpteen years. Yeah. And once again, that tight, Larry Donnell comes in and makes a bonehead play like that.
What do you think? Jeremy Shockey was the last one? No, I'm playing.
The last good tight end that they had.
They had that other guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he
Kevin Boss, maybe.
Yeah, Kevin Boss.
They only had him for a year, and then he signs a big deal out in Oakland. But you see all these teams right now with tight ends, that are just tearing up the league with Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham and Greg Barnage over in Cleveland. Yeah, I know. It's just. I don't know. It was bad loss, especially the fact that they had a chance to take control of the division. They would have went up 4-2, would have put everybody at 2-3 or 2-4, and especially going into next week's game against the Cowboys, which I know you're hyped for.
I am.
But yeah.
Well, you know what? And I was just going to say that, coming off a bad loss and the Cowboys come to town. Now, listen, it's not the Tony Romo, Dez Bryant, Randy Gregory, Greg Hardy, Cowboys, even though you're going to have Greg Hardy, and you may or may not have Des Bryant. I hear Jerry Jones talking that he's going to play. We'll see about that. But now we're starting Matt Castle. So you got a quarterback that hasn't played here, hasn't played with the Cowboys, doesn't know, knows the system enough to go out there and start. But I don't think that I'm not too confident that they're going to go out there and win, except for the fact that they look bad against the Giants, look bad against the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can hope for is that the Giants, get this. They had 3 really great wins. You get a bad loss, and at least you're playing the Cowboys that you're somewhat familiar with because you saw them in Week 1.
Sure.
Definitely not having Tony Romo, behind center is going to help the Giants. Matt Castle, I mean, come on, you can't be excited about that. But at the same time, no Brandon Weeden.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited about Matt Castle, but I mean, it's going to be a little better than I'm hoping he takes more risks than Brandon Weeden did. I thought Brandon Weeden was just trying not to get benched. I thought he wasn't throwing the ball. Listen, I don't want you to throw 3 interceptions, but I also want you to throw more than 15 yards. I want you to get the ball out there and throw to your receivers. And we got a new running back this week. They're going to, I think, Christine Michael is getting all the first touches, so first team touches. So that should be interesting too. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I think we have a good shot.
Yeah, you better not have a good shot. The Giants better take care of business at home. I'm actually excited that it's a 4:30 Sunday, afternoon game. I'm tired of these primetime games because the Giants never bring their A game. They're the typical team that needs to play at 1 o'clock every Sunday. They need to almost, I know we're in the New York media, so it's always a game on Fox, but they do better when nobody's watching, when they're not, when we're not all hyped up, because they always come out flat.
Yeah, and you know what? Later in the afternoon, you play those late games, you're amped up all day long, and you come out flat. That's just, just the way it works. But the other New York team, seems to be playing a lot better than the Giants. Shockingly, I've never thought I'd say that, but Jets with a big win, going against the Redskins. I understand it's the Redskins, but the Redskins had Atlanta beat last week until that one pass. So the Jets had a good game. Fitzpatrick big day, and they just seemed that Chris Ivory. I don't know where this Chris Ivory came from, but he's been lighting it up too.
Yeah, big second half. I mean, a lot better than they did in the first half because, it was a lot of turnovers. They had to come from behind. Their defense is playing lights out, right there. I mean, you got playmakers on that team, with that secondary with Revis, and that front 4, people are getting after it. And, like we said last week, I mean, this is the team that Rex Ryan always wanted, and Coach Bowles is just taking advantage of it.
The only thing I'd say is that they're, it's still Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick one interception yesterday, which was a terrible thrown ball, and they played the Redskins. But the one thing that they do that the Giants don't is they get after the passer. They get after. They come in there. That defense, Todd Bowles has done a great job in getting all those guys to play together and play well. And I think the Jets are. I wouldn't say they're for real, but they're realer than they have been in the past few years. What do you think?
Well, I think we're going to find out next week when they play the Patriots. Because I mean that's going to be their best test. I mean, not putting down Washington, but I'm putting down Washington. I mean,
I agree.
They're not the best of all teams. I mean, you're going to see it. I mean, we're going to really see how good that defense is when Tom Brady and the Pats come to town, and this is the game, just like the Eagles Giants game. I mean, it's either the Patriots go to 7-0 and really take a stronghold on that division, or the Jets step up to their older brother finally and say, you know what, we're going to give you a loss, and we're going to be reckoned with. So I don't know.
Just to give you a little bit, the Patriots are a 9-point favorite, and they're at home. So I don't see a win coming this week. I see the Patriots being the Patriots. Tom Brady. I don't care what defense you throw against him. He's going to do dump off passes. He's going to do. He's got Gronk over the middle every time. They run that seam route, and he's open every time. I don't care. So I think the Jets will play well. I think they'll do better than the Bills did. Even though the Bills came close, I thought the Patriots had that game all the way. So I like the Patriots here. Do you going with the Jets, or what do you think?
No, I'm going to go with the Patriots. You got to go with them. I mean, unless, maybe the Jets do a fake punt and this time it works, opposed to the Colts did last week.
Yeah, great play, by the way.
Yeah, there you go, Chuck Pagano. What are you thinking? No, I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, look, I'm a Giants fan. I'm not a Jets fan. I'll give credit to the Jets for playing well, but when the Patriots have owned that division for the last 15 years, and aside from a big playoff win back in 2010 or whatever it was, you got to do something. You got to win. You got to make a play, and you got to do it. What better way to do it? Up there in Foxborough next week. So good luck to them, but whatever.
As long as Tom Brady is there, and the Jets don't get a quarterback named Aaron Rodgers to be their quarterback, that's the Patriots division until he retires, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see anybody in that. I mean, maybe the Bills, if they can get some firepower from their quarterback. But right now, Tyrod Taylor's hurt. I don't know. I mean, you need a quarterback in this league, and none of these teams do. You got Ryan Tannehill in Miami, who's not, I'm wearing Miami today, but he's not. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's a second tier guy. So that's the Patriots division until Tom Brady retires, which according to Tom Brady won't be for another like 8 years.
Yeah.
But all right, so we talked about football. Let's switch to Major League Baseball playoffs. Big game tonight. Mets got a chance to go up 3-0. DeGrom on the hill against Hendricks. Where are you thinking this is going to go tonight?
Ooh. I mean, you got to go with long locks DeGrom.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like Samson out there. The Cubs need to go out there with some scissors and cut off the hair. Maybe it'll take away, his firepower. But I mean, come on. I mean, he's pitching. He's got a 1.4 ERA. He's 2-0 in the postseason. He's coming off, the Game 5 win against the Dodgers, where he pretty much handled them. You have to go in the favor of DeGrom on top of the Mets hitting right now. I mean, Daniel Murphy's lights out, and that's my feeling. What are you thinking? You thinking the Cubs?
No, you know what? I'm liking the Cubs only because what we talked about last week. My Back to the Future. If they win tonight, they play tomorrow. That'll be huge, considering it is the day that Marty McFly came back to the Future in 2015. So that would be big to tie that series up 2-2. But I agree with you. You got to go with DeGrom tonight. I asked you before the show started who Kyle Hendricks is. I have no idea. He's just another guy, and I think DeGrom is out there. The only thing I could say is DeGrom did not look good his last outing. He got the win. He got out of some tough situations, but he struggled. He did not have the stuff that he normally has. And I think that might, maybe he bounces back from that. But let's talk a little bit about my favorite second baseman right now, and that's Daniel Murphy, who 2 years ago, Mets fans that I know hated the guy, never wanted him on the team, hated him, never came up big in the clutch. And then all of a sudden, this guy's got 5 home runs, ties Mike Piazza for the most postseason home runs. And Mike Piazza played 17 more games than he did. So the future Yankee, Daniel Murphy, how do you think his postseason's going so far?
The future Yankee. What are we going to give him next year? $15 million.
Yeah.
He's a $7 million year guy this year. We'll give him 15 for next year. What's funny about that is that you constantly hear Daniel Murphy is kind of a dope when it comes to base running, and he'll think there's 2 outs when there's really 1 out.
Sure.
He's always been able to hit the ball, but everyone's kind of knocked him on his defense. But then I know we're a week late here talking about, but what was the biggest play that he had besides the home run? The first to third on a walk. When they put the shift on, I believe it was for Duda. They put the shift on. Duda gets walked. He comes running around second. Nobody covers third for the Dodgers. And what happens? Murphy takes third. I mean, just a heads-up, brilliant baseball play for a guy that has been noted, in the New York sports media as someone who's just not that kind of heads-up guy. That's something you see from Derek Jeter, someone who's constantly focused on the game. But for Daniel Murphy, I mean, hey, what better time to do it than in the postseason?
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe he's matured a little bit for the past couple of years. He's been there, and I know Mets fans have just, I've never heard a good thing about the guy. And you know what? You don't have to run the bases when you hit the ball out of the park, and that's what he's doing. He's making the difference. He was just the sole reason they played so well against the Dodgers. I mean, hit out 2 home runs off Kershaw. I mean, come on. That's the reason they're here right now. So, and obviously great pitching. But let's switch over to the AL. The Royals beat the Blue Jays today, 14-2. After the Toronto Blue Jays had a big game yesterday, 11-8, a lot of home runs. Royals lead 3-1. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying I thought Toronto was going to take it. I thought they were the best team coming out of the American League.
I thought so too. You're right.
Yeah, but hey, kind of like of the Giants in the last like 5 years or so. If they make the playoffs, I'm talking about the baseball Giants here.
Sure.
They have so much experience, and I think Kansas City's run last year is really tailoring over to that, to show up this year. They just know how to play. Yeah. I mean, even today, it's 14-2, but they only had 2 home runs, and the one by Alex Rios was a solo shot. So, yeah. I mean, they're putting the ball into play, they're getting on base, and they're scoring. And, you got to give it to them. You got to give it to them.
They're playing baseball the way that baseball should be played, and that's small ball. Getting guys on base, walking, singles. That's the way you need to play. The Royals are great for that. That's what the Yankees have always been lacking. It's like if you can't get guys on base, but you're hitting home runs, yeah, you can win. You can hit 2 home runs and it's 2-0. But if the other team gets 3 runs, you can't get on base. You can't score. The Royals are just playing smarter right now, and I like the Royals in this series. I liked Toronto in the beginning, but I haven't seen anything from Toronto. I don't think Toronto has the pitching. David Price is spotty at best, and they just needed to. Only 2 runs today from them from a high-powered offense. I'm not sure. Who do you got? The Royals are up 3-1. Who do you got here?
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's you have to play the numbers game. You have to say the Royals are going to be able to pull this one out with 3 games left. So, I'm glad you brought up the Yankees. You and I are both Yankees fans. I mean, we've seen this year in and year out with them. Well, maybe not the last couple of years, but most of the 2000s, Yankees would lead the league in home runs. They would lead the league in runs, much like what Toronto did this year. And then the playoffs start, and it's that timely hitting. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not going to be able to hit 25 home runs in one series. It just doesn't happen. No. But as a team,
pitching.
Right. But as a team, you could get 25 singles, and those could produce 3 runs a game for you.
Yep.
Look at Toronto. Like you said, they scored 11 runs yesterday with all those home runs. Why didn't that translate into a good outing for them today?
And not only that, but without those runs, Johnny Cueto gave up 8 runs. I mean, they probably would have pulled them a little earlier. But when when you're hitting the ball out of the park, I guess you want to leave him in and get him some work. But giving up 8 runs, I mean, you can't win ball games like that.
Yeah, no, not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs. I mean, this is.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Yankees and the Tigers a couple years ago. The Yankees came in hot, hitting the ball out of the park, and the Tigers, Miguel Cabrera just base hits, doubles, little things like that, and they got beat in 5 games, I think it was. So, I agree with you there.
Yeah, no, they always say, I mean, great pitching is always going to neutralize great hitting.
Sure.
So,
all right, so let's finish the show up here with something that hasn't started yet, but it's coming up. I know Greg's very excited about it. The NBA season is upon us. It will start on the 27th, which is Tuesday. And the first game, I believe I have it written down here, the Cavs versus the Bulls. And then the late game is the Pelicans and the Warriors. So, Greg, who's your team now? Who do you follow?
My team. I know. I grew up. I mean, I was such a front runner when I was a young kid. Growing up loving Michael Jordan.
Sure.
And then he's gone in 1999, and it's like, where do you go from there? You can't go to the Knicks. So, I mean, I guess I guess I was always a New Jersey Nets kind of guy.
Sure.
But let's be honest, was I really ever a New Jersey Nets kind of guy? No.
No.
the NBA to me is a players' league. I've always said that.
I completely agree.
You know, it's like I follow players. I hated Kobe in the beginning. I love him now. I'm still rooting for Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett. You know, that's what it is to me. I don't know if I root for a specific team. You can call me a front runner. You can call me a fraud. I get it, but I root for players, and I root for players now that I used to hate. So I don't really have a team. I mean, do you have a team?
No, I don't. I root for good play. I want to see a good game. I want to see two of the best guys in the league go after it. That's what I want to see. I want to see the Rockets go against the Clippers. I want to see LeBron against Durant. Like, that's what I want to see. I don't. I'm going to root for one or two of the guys. I'm a big Steph Curry guy because obviously, like me, he loves to shoot the three, and that's always been my big thing. So we haven't done a list yet on the show yet, and that's what we're all about here. So give me your top five players in the NBA. Who do you like?
Top 5 players right now, hands down. Even though I root against him, maybe that's the question that should have been. Who do I root against? And it's LeBron.
Yeah.
Because I'm a LeBron hater. So I'm a fraud. And a LeBron hater. But LeBron top. I mean, I think if you ask anyone in the league right now, he's the #1 player in the league by far, hands down.
Yep.
2, I'm going Anthony Davis. I'm old school. I think that you win with a solid big man. You know, we've seen it. You know, you saw it in LA with Shaq. You see it in San Antonio with Tim Duncan, regardless of his age. You know, it's hurt LeBron not having a big man. I think Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the NBA right now with the unibrow. But, I mean, the fact that he can play defense, he's developing that low post game. You know, he's fantastic.
So let's talk about Anthony Davis for a second because I'm not sold on Anthony Davis. So my issue with Anthony Davis is, yes, great player, going to get you 20, double every night. But my issue is game on the line, 2 seconds left, you're down by 3. What are you doing?
Yeah, but why can't if you can get the ball into him, why can't he take the last shot? The thing is, I mean, that's what everyone says. If he's such a good player, maybe you're never down by 2 at that point. If he's such a good player, maybe you're up 15 at that point every single time. And I'm not saying that you don't.
That's how this league is. The league always, you know, these great teams, it always comes down to 2. It always comes down to 3. There's always those tight games.
Yeah, but you can't take away somebody's ability of being a great player just because they're not going to be able to have the ball in their hand for the last 1 or 2 seconds of the game. The game doesn't work like that. Yeah, I mean, you play 4 quarters of 12-minute ball. You know, I mean, he could score 60 points in the game, and he could be the only reason you are down by 2. You know, so yes, you're going to have to put people around him, but to me, he's the most versatile player right now because of his athleticism and his defensive skills. Shot blocking right now, you know, haven't been matched compared to somebody with their offensive skills. I mean, like Dikembe Mutombo didn't have his offensive skill. I mean, we could be seeing someone as good as Akeem Olajuwon playing in the block, you know, in 2016.
No, you're right. All right, so you gave me 2. Give me the rest.
All right, so my next is Kevin Durant. You know, I think he's a freak. You know, I mean, the fact that the guy's 6'10" and, you know, he can shoot threes and dribble and pass the way he is. And the year that he had 2 years ago was phenomenal with the, you know, 60% above 3 from the 90% from the free throw line. Or excuse me, it was 60%, 50, 90, and 50, something like that. It was insane, the MVP season that he had. Next, I'm going James Harden. Okay. And I know a lot of people might say that's kind of strange, you know, because of the style that he plays. But I think that his ability to shoot the 3 is even sometimes more effective than the way Steph Curry shoots the 3. Because Steph Curry he can create his own shot, but a lot of times he needs the ball passed to him, where James Harden can, at any point, just unload, whether it's 2 or 3. I think he's a dynamic player. And then I think him playing with Dwight Howard kind of makes him that much better of a player. And then lastly, which I flip-flopped a bunch, I think maybe up to like midway last season, I really did have Steph Curry penciled in there as the top 5, even though he won an MVP last year. I'm going Russell Westbrook. I think he's the most athletic, gifted player in the league today. And what he did for that one stretch last week where he hit 6 or 7 straight games of 40 points or more, and the fact that what he did without Kevin Durant, being out last year from the point guard position was just phenomenal. I mean,
that's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand is why aren't the Thunder winning more games? Is because they're not both healthy at the same time, or is it a power struggle there? Because you got 2 guys who are, we just said it, top 5 in the league. I mean, he's on my list. I mean, my list is LeBron, Durant, Harden, Westbrook, and then you have Curry, and I have Davis 6. I think Davis is a great player, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, I will build my franchise around him, but I need something else. I need that clutch gene. I need something that, I'm not going to put the ball in his hands to hit a 3 for me. That's just not how it's going to work. I'm sure the guy's capable, but I'd rather have Steph Curry in that situation. Plus, you got to go with the hot hand. They're NBA champions. Steph Curry's been playing out of his mind for a guy that's too small that, wasn't supposed to make it in the NBA. I think the guy is phenomenal. And I'll agree with you, James Harden. I love James Harden. I couldn't believe that they lost to the Miami Heat back then because James Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. That was such a great team. I was a little in shock that they not only did they lose, they didn't even play well against them.
Yeah, that series. I think they were very young, in that series. Going back to your first question, why doesn't Oklahoma win more games? It really was just last year. And when, yes, Russell Westbrook is unbelievable.
Yeah, but why are they not in the finals? That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, Kevin Durant broke his foot last year, he didn't play. And the year before that, they lost in a tough series against San Antonio. I believe that game went 7.
Yeah.
So, and San Antonio went on to win the title.
Yeah.
So, it's a catch-22. I mean, when you're playing in the West, see, it's easy to sit here and say that LeBron is the best player and, oh, look, he's in the finals again. He plays in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the Eastern Conference is the JV compared to the varsity, which is the West.
Agreed.
So, I mean, if you're Oklahoma City and you're banging night in, night out, playing the best teams in the Western Conference, and you may only come out, a 4th or 5th seed, that's tough. That's really tough where LeBron, he could, basically take off some of his nights and, finish in the 3rd seed. But then he doesn't have to worry about it because, the top seed is Chicago, which he owns, or Toronto is the 2 seed. And, let's be honest, Kyle Lowry isn't, scaring anyone when it comes to the playoffs. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the Thunder are this year, especially with Donovan coming in, a college coach at Florida, coming into the NBA to see how he's able to mesh.
Yeah.
I know, Durant being out last year with a broken foot, Serge Ibaka not
I think it's
playing.
going to be good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
fresh start. I think they're going to, I think they're going to play well. But let me ask you before we go, one final question. Give me your bold prediction. Who do you got winning the whole thing?
What, the NBA?
Yep. It hasn't started yet, but I want to know.
That's on the spot. I think I'm gonna have to put I got to put all my chips into the best player in the league, so I'll have to go the Cavs. I think year 2 with Kyrie Irving and seeing Kevin Love can
and a healthy Kyrie Irving this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as I hate on him, I'll take the odds on that one.
Yeah, and as much as I hate agreeing with you, I got to say the Cavs too. I just think that it's LeBron's time. He's got to win a championship there, and this is the year to do it. They've got the team, they've got it stacked, and the East is the East. There's nobody beating them in the East. So, all right, Greg, it's been fun. I'll talk to you soon, and everybody have a good night. All right.